Good morning, folks. I'm Junior, and today I'm going to talk to you about our belief systems. I was yesterday during group. We were having a conversation about religion and spiritual beliefs and faith. One of the things that I try and tell people all the time is that our belief systems have to be fluid. So if you think of a lava lamp, how they go together, the oil hits, some of it stays and moves down, the rest of it goes the path of least resistance. Our thought processes, our belief systems have to be the same thing. We can't look at everything literally. We have to be able to look at things from a metaphorical point of view. Life is more related to metaphors than it is on a literal basis. So when we're talking about religion or spiritual beliefs, it's really easy for somebody to dispute the Bible or somebody else's belief system because they want to look at everything as a literal translation. Okay? It's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be multiple beliefs. Like, it doesn't matter what you believe as long as it's something that you truly feel inside is accurate. Learning how to do that is the hard part. So what I try and get people to do is to start with faith from a non-spiritual point of view. We look at faith as just the ability to believe in something we haven't seen yet. So for recovering addicts, that could be as simple as just having faith that we can be clean long term, because that's something we haven't seen yet. But if you don't believe that, it's pretty hard to achieve. Well, same thing when it comes to religion or spirituality. I'm Christian, but I don't push that on anybody because that's my personal beliefs. I believe more in a spiritual aspect. Just because mine leans towards a Christian point of view doesn't mean it's the only one there is. But it also doesn't mean that's the only thing I believe in. I believe in lots of different types of philosophy. I get into Buddhism, Taoism, pretty much all Eastern philosophies. There's stuff in there I like. And that doesn't make what I believe wrong or right. It just makes it mine. So the important part with doing that is being able to have a fluid belief system. Hi. And having that fluid belief system, thank you, is what's going to make our recovery possible. It's going to help us to change our thought process. So if I define what my higher power, what my spiritual belief is today, and I put this hard line around it in a box and say, this is exactly what my higher power is, and this is what he can do or she can do. What happens tomorrow when my problems don't fit inside that box? I'm fucked, right? So I have to be able to adapt. My belief systems have to be able to shift and change for me to be okay. The whole point of all this is to have as little negativity in my mind as possible, because I can only have so much negative shit in my head before I get fucked up, right? Because I'm going to want to get high, I'm going to want to drink, I'm going to want to do something to escape all this negativity in my head. So I've got to have a fluid belief system. I've got to be able to take a negative situation and find somewhere in there something positive, something that I can use. Doesn't mean that it changes anything other than my point of view of it, my perception. My perception is the whole flaw in what's wrong with most of my thinking. I've always had a perception that's distorted. So until I can learn how to find something positive out of those negatives, it's going to be really hard for me to be successful. Again, that's where the fluid thinking comes in. It was really hard for me when I started trying to have that fluid belief system because I felt like a fucking hypocrite all the time. But it's not hypocrisy. It's growth. It's that simple. There's no hypocrisy in being able to grow in the way that we think or believe. It's just not. But it feels like it. And it was hard for me to accept that. All I'm doing is creating a way to accept what's going on in my life. Okay? I can't control anything in my life except for the way I look at something and the way I react to it. I change that with my perception and my belief system. Most of us have a lot of core beliefs that are negative, which create automatic negative thinking, which screws us up because that usually leads us to making an emotional decision somewhere. And as soon as we start making decisions emotionally, it's not a good road. So we have to be able to do this. We have to build this fluid belief system. However, sometimes it's as simple as making a choice that this is what I'm going to do. Not always, but sometimes. But we don't know if we don't try. So when we get into talking about how do you change from old behaviors and who we were to being a good person, for me, it was as simple as making a choice and believing it. Doesn't mean it was easy, but I had to believe in that choice. I had to make sure that I followed that choice as often as possible. So anytime something came up, if I wanted to steal something from the store, that's old behavior, I had to remind myself I'm a good person. I don't do that. It's not mine. I don't touch it. If I don't pay for it with my money, I don't touch it. I don't take somebody else's money to pay for something I want. That's just not who I am anymore. I don't manipulate somebody to buy me what I want or give me what I want. I want to try and do it on my own. I don't always succeed at that. Sometimes my mind wins and I get stuck in my head and I make bad decisions and and then I didn't do the right thing that I should have. But I move forward after that. I don't get stuck on it. I found a wallet at a gas station. I don't know, a year or two ago. Was sitting at the pump, sitting on top of the pump, and I grabbed it. It was like an old trifold wallet, and I could see there was money in it. I didn't even open it because I knew if I opened it, I was going to be tempted. I carried it right over, didn't even pump my gas first. I went right over and turned it to the attendant. And they looked at me like I was crazy. I'm guessing not many people turning wallets anymore, which is pretty sad. So I chose to be a good person, right? I chose to do the right thing. I worked for a company that I found out was committing insurance fraud. My first thought, instinctively, as my addict behavior would dictate, was, I wonder if I can get a fucking raise if I tell them I know this information. That's not what a good person does, right? That's the manipulative side of me. That's me thinking like I would an active addiction. The good person confronts the situation or turns the company in, which was what I was going to do. Somebody else had already done it, and it ended up costing me my job anyways, which is okay. I don't want to do all this work and take all this time being a better person to go work for somebody that's a fucking thief, right? I could do that when I was getting high. I could have stayed high and done that. That's not what I want. Nor do I want to work for somebody like that that's the head of my industry. That's the face of the industry I work in. That's not okay. I don't want that. So again, it's just a fluid belief system and acceptance, right? Except for me, when it came to being a better person, I had to draw that line in the sand and make a conscious choice that I'm going to be a good person. And every time a situation comes up where I have the opportunity to do something shady, I have to consciously remind myself that I'm a good person. I find myself wanting to lie, or I do lie. I have to remind myself I'm a good person, and I need to confront that lie and tell somebody the truth. Make an apology for it, whatever. That's being a good person. All of that stuff, though, does come with the fluid belief system. Because before, the only way that I thought was right was whatever it took for me to get my way, right? And that's not what a good person does. A good person doesn't always get their way, but they do things the right way when they do get them. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. I hope you guys all have a fantastic day. I love you all.